So the folks over at Amazon that, do the Alexa thing said, we're working on technology. You just might like this. It'll mimic your voice if you want it to.
Yeah, or anyone else's voice.
Yeah, like say that there was a grandparent you absolutely adored and you still have at least a recording of them. They say when this technology comes out, when they upgrade all this stuff, it can memorize or learn the vocal patterns of who that person is in about 60 seconds. And then if you want it to, it'll always talk like grandma or grandpa or you or one of your kids.
It sounds great in theory. I just don't know if I would care for it, especially if it mimics it. If I could, load Grandpa's voice into it and then Alexa, play that. Let me hear Grandpa's voice. And then, she would play it. Then it would be fantastic.
I think that's what the thought is behind that.
The mimic, is it going to sound robotic? Is it going to sound...
No, it's supposed to sound mimic. They mean it sounds as close as possible of what that technology can do.
Just seems a little creepy. I don't know.
It can be. It can be.
Yeah.
But yet there are days that I wish I could hear my grandma one more time.
Right. Right. When I saw this, I was like, yes, I would love to hear. I have my dad's last email that he and I were talking back and forth. But if I could hear his voice, and I feel like I can still conjure it up in my brain, but if I could hear his voice, oh my goodness.
I had a friend whose father passed away, and they were getting ready to switch phones from, one kind of phone to another kind of phone. They're like, I don't want to lose this voicemail. Mm-hmm. So we were able to record it so they would have it.
That is so nice.
Yeah.
That is so nice to be able to do that. So if you can capture it.
That seems to be the intent behind what this kind of technology will do when you get it on your Echo Dot. I don't want to say Alexa because it might order toilet paper if I say it too much.
Well, you just said it and it just did.
Rob and Liz, his morning crew.
Well, I had no idea that Liz was vegan. It's Rob and Liz, his morning crew on his radio. She was sharing with me just moments ago that she wanted to share something about Alexa and the vegan diet.
No, I am not.
Well, then what?
Not at all. No,
So it's about something about vegetables?
No. No, not really. This is about Alexa Pena Vega, who is an actress.
Oh.
She was in...
Boy, did I not hear that right.
Right? You were way off the mark. She was in Spy Kids. My kids were totally into the Spy Kids movies, like in the early 2000s.
I vaguely remember those, only because I'm a Rocky fan, and Sylvester Stallone, I think, was in one of those Spy Kid movies.
I really have seen mostly the first one, so I don't know Sly Stallone in this, but the little girl who played Carmen is all grown up.
Oh, I'm sure. That was eons ago, that movie.
And she has kids of her own, family of her own, and I have followed her on social media for a while. She and her husband met at Bible study.
Really?
Right. And they really are, they have some Bible studies, I think, on some of their social media, and just really all about living the life and sharing Jesus. And
they're living it out loud. I love this.
Yes, love it. So she was because she was in that Hollywood, that celebrity kind of a lifestyle for a while. She developed, unfortunately, an eating disorder because she said, I would get kind of a rush from people saying, oh, you look so thin and you've lost weight and you look great. And so that got ingrained in her mind. And so she said, I was not able to break that disorder on my own. It was when I got God to take control of it. He was in control anyway, but I had to give it to him.
Okay.
And then he got into my life, and she was able to walk away from that eating disorder. And thanks God and thanks Jesus. She's like, every day I have to thank him.
Good for her.
For absolutely changing my life.
Well, I'm sure that's still a struggle, but she has hope and she knows where her source of strength is.
Right.
She's able to walk through that.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And the platform that she has, because so many people know her from Spy Kids. And they, she's been in a couple of other things. Her husband was in a boy band back in the day, Big Time Rush, which I'm not real familiar with them. But they both have such a platform, and they share Jesus with everyone on their social.
Good for them.
Love them.
Rob and Liz, his morning crew.
Okay, there's been this theme park that's been around since the 60s, and it's based in the 1800s. It's up for sale. You can invest in it. It's cheaper than an average house that's going for under $300,000.
For a whole theme park?
Whole theme park.
Okay, roller coasters and everything.
Based in the 1800s, it has 2 cabins, a grist mill, a schoolhouse, a general store, a blacksmith shop, a jail, the world's tallest roller coaster. No, there's no roller coasters.
Well, good.
It's just this little town.
Man,
And it's a theme park.
I'm going to show my ignorance a little bit. What is a grist mill?
It's a mill full of grist.
Okay, well that clears that up.
And it makes grist. That's great on the griddle.
Is it misspelled and it's really grits?
It's right.
Okay, that's it.
And then they have the gravy maker with the biscuits and everything else.
Oh my,
No, but seriously, it's been around since 1960. It went out in 1995.
Oh, it hasn't even been up and running since.
No, but it's still in fairly good shape.
Okay.
And they're trying to, unload it. They tried to sell it in '89. Nobody bought it. $3 to get in back in the day.
So I guess there's not a line to go churn your own butter at this thing.
No, or
You don't need a fast pass?
or the grist mill.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
They call themselves the Good Church.
Oh, I like that. It's
The
just simple.
Good Church, and they're positioned in an area that has a lot of need near this church. Now, during COVID, when the pandemic happened and kids were out of school, the big need was food because the kids weren't in school. And so Good Church and the pastor's like, we've got the food. And so people would donate. They were able to help the community out. Now the need is different. And this is going to sound weird. The need is laundry.
Oh, yeah.
The need is clean clothes. He says 75% of the people that go to his church work off of public transportation. They do not have their own vehicles. So they're taking the bus or whatever to get to where they're going. And the laundromats are so far away, and then they have to walk to them to do that. So the church has 8 laundry machines that they say is not enough right now, but it's helping the need. I like what they call it. The church is called Good Church. Their laundromat in their basement is called Good Laundry.
They're real simple.
Right?
They just and if they have 8 machines, that's like 4 washers, 4 dryers. And if the need is that great, I see it. Think about if you're living, just watching every little dime, and you've got to pay for the fare on public transportation. You got to pay for the laundromat. You got to buy the detergent. I mean, it just starts adding up. And if they can offer that, then the families are now able to afford maybe gasoline or maybe diapers.
Well, 75% don't have their own car. It's public
Goodness
transportation.
gracious.
I know, right? And so they're helping out big time, which is really cool. A really simple thing like cleaning clothes to help out the community.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
So this one area in Kansas City, every 2 weeks, there's another announcement between friends and coworkers. They say, I'm pregnant. 2 weeks later, hey, I'm pregnant. Now there's 14 young ladies that are pregnant, and they are all nurses in labor and delivery at this one hospital in Kansas City.
Yeah, they're in the neonatal unit, so it's even more specialized. And so there's 14 of them. The first one gave birth, I think it was last week, little baby girl, right? And the others are going to be spread out between now and December. They're going to need a lot of fill-in nurses in this
Right?
because that's a lot of maternity
They've
leave.
been making all the announcements. It's a boy, it's a girl, it's all this.
Oh,
and
like-
14, yeah.
All I can see is the person that works in HR is going, oh my goodness, like, how are we going to feel?
I know,
How
yeah.
are we going to run this?
Here's the
neonatal
thing
unit?
the nurses are saying. It's like now we have a new appreciation for what we do because now we are our own clients in a sense, I guess.
Well, yeah, and some are first-time parents, and some have had other children, but to have 14, it has to be a joyous place right now, which it's already because of all the little bitty babies that are there.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
So there's some doctors or researchers or somebody that got together and they said this: if you can't balance when you're in your middle age and older, if you cannot balance on one leg for at least 10 seconds, you're a goner 10 years from now. I'm like, what?
That's pretty harsh.
Come on.
It is pretty harsh, and I don't know what they studied, who they studied to come up with that. But you know what? I try it.
Poor Liz is toast.
Kind of. I'm like wobbling over here. I can make it 10 seconds, but I have to bring myself back. You, Rob, are steady as a rock. Like, he put the leg up, he stood on the leg,
I move my leg all over the place.
did the tree pose, did the
Yeah.
yoga poses.
It's easy. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have an issue. I guess I have good balance.
But I mean, there's also people like between my two sons, one just doesn't have that great of balance. The other one is a little smaller, and his core is so strong. He could probably stand there all day on one leg.
It's not hard.
It's just the way you're made up.
Seriously,
Well,
it's
don't
not
say-
hard.
It is
No.
a little more difficult.
Our intern Carly, as a matter of fact, balance on one leg. Carly,
What?
can you balance on one leg?
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
didn't
see?
try. She didn't try. You didn't
She
try.
can do it. She can do it.
Well, we're
Jake,
gonna
our
see.
producer, Jake.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
30,
timed him.
30 seconds. As a matter of fact, Ninja can balance on one leg.
I can.
See,
Yeah, all day long. I think Ninja could stay on one leg.
but sure, they're young. That's okay.
yeah. But I mean, you still should be able to balance on one leg.
Yeah, and now some of these doctors and physicians that are saying if you can't balance on one leg in your middle age, 10 years from now you might not be here, but they're saying they should put that in exams.
Oh, really?
The whole balance thing.
Like when you go get your physical.
Yeah, you get your physical exam.
Okay, but what I don't want you to do is try to balance on one foot for 10 seconds, and if you can't do it, write yourself off.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
A lot of parents evidently want kids to play an instrument more so than I thought. I read something
Okay.
that's talking about like 82% want their kids to play an instrument.
Piano, guitar, that's nice.
Yeah, the number one thing they really want them to play, drums.
What parents are these people talking to?
I'm like,
Come on.
I have a brother-in-law that when we had our boys was like, I'm going to get you all the toys that make the most noise and have the most pieces. He just wanted to mess with us,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was like, if you get my kids drums, we're going to have a problem with each
Now,
other.
Spencer, who was my middle son, his first instrument was a drum.
No way.
Oh, yeah. He even had somebody teach him for maybe, I
that's
think,
cool.
like 2 months.
Yeah.
And he was bossing it at 12, 13 years old. Yeah.
I just find it hard to believe because I would be fine if my kids showed like an affinity to play drums, wanted to play drums. Fine, that's great. But to say, I want my child to play the drums. 2 of my children play musical instruments. One the cello, one the violin.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Who?
Hayden played the cello in school. He doesn't really play it anymore. But,
He should.
he did.
But who else?
And then Taylor plays violin.
Really? Your daughter?
Does.
I had no idea. The stringed instruments.
She was in like praise and worship band at church, and did it in the
Man, I
orchestra
can't
in
go.
school.
I'm looking forward to the Philharmonic Orchestra with Taylor and Hayden now.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
When my boys were little, we used to
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Popsicles. His morning crew with Rob and Liz, his radio.
Oh, so cool and refreshing this time of year for a
yeah.
popsicle. It's been so, especially now. I mean, triple digits in a lot of areas throughout the country.
Sounds good right now.
Yeah, having a pop. It's human now when you walk
Yeah.
outside. It's like a washcloth just hit you in the face. Like a,
Makeup slides right off.
yeah, First world problems.
I know.
So, okay, let me ask you this. This is quite the mashup. Did I say that right?
Mashup, yeah.
Quite the mashup between the popsicle and a condiment. What brand of ketchup? I'm going to ask Liz this. What brand of ketchup is in your refrigerator?
Usually it's Heinz.
Heinz?
Yeah.
There's a French's
Oh, okay.
ketchup too, right?
Sure.
So French is coming up with the Frenchsicle, which is a tomato or ketchup flavored popsicle.
That is gross.
They're out like at pop-up locations in Canada, like Toronto. So if you know anybody who's vacationing or have a friend or family in Toronto, they might want to try this today just to see how it is. But it's seriously, a ketchup-flavored popsicle.
I like and I understand the sweet salty thing, like salted caramel. Delicious.
Really?
But ketchup popsicles?
Yeah.
If anybody ever says, oh, go to Canada for the food. No,